Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So as you can see behind me, there's a Christmas tree. Not decorated yet, no lights put up, but that will be put on promptly. However, it also, just serves as a nice thing to look at in the background now, so a little new addition. But regarding the video and what the video is about, there's a potential for another snowstorm. I mean, it's winter time usually, this is how it is. And this one will be affecting different locations, so that's always cool. Not the same location, seeing the snow over and over again. New locations, potentially the northeast, portions of the south, as you can see right here. We have pulled up. There are some winter storm watches, winter weather advisories from the National Weather Service. So definitely a potential snowstorm with some pretty significant amounts. The confidence has increased quite a bit from last night. I think yesterday I didn't even really talk about it at all because we had that first system that's still there across the Great Lakes. Okay, if you guys, before we start, if you guys, like to watch this channel, like the videos, consider subscribing. It helps this channel grow, helps it out a lot. And if you are a returning viewer, liking the video would be fantastic, as that's what carries this channel. So thank you for that. Let's get into this. So as I mentioned, there are winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories already being issued for that new system. While yes, we do still have areas across Pennsylvania, extreme western New York, and into northeastern Ohio, seeing some snow, and even I don't know if Pittsburgh is under the winter storm warning. Okay, no, it's under the winter weather advisory, but still, we have some pretty significant snow rates occurring. You can see right there, the amounts of snow have been already pretty significant, and they will continue to fall for the next few hours. But really, the system is beginning to wind down as forecasted. I'll show you the amounts of snow in just a bit. However, first, let's start looking at those new winter storm warnings. So notice that the winter storm warnings, so kind of where the core will occur, the core of snowfall, if you will. Notice that central Oklahoma into southern Kansas could be actually looking at some pretty significant amounts. Cities like Clinton, Enid, I'm assuming Enid, Woodward, seeing some pretty high amounts. Woodward obviously taking kind of the crown of that, 6 to 8 inches. The thing is that with these type of systems across the south, it's all about the rain to snow transition and how quickly it occurs. And oftentimes, if it falls heavily, the precipitation and the snowfall, obviously, then we could get amounts higher than 6 to 8. I recall a event very vividly. I think it was last year at around February, late January. And it was across a similar location, but more of the panhandles were forecasted to see, a decent event. It wasn't a complete, underestimate, but it was 6 to 8. A few locations maybe seeing up to that double digits, right? But then some locations ended up seeing 18 inches of snow. It was a overproducer because of just how heavily the snow falls. And notice in terms of the timing, it starts from the west, right, and progresses towards Oklahoma City. Again, Oklahoma City definitely seeing some snow, not significant as to the northwest. Though 1 to 2 inches is still, poses a little bit of a threat. Not a little bit, quite a big threat. Usually most accidents happen, car accidents, within the first inch of snow. And notice, snow amounts will likely vary significantly because of the rain-snow line. So this may shift to the south and east, or it may, shift further to the north and west. And unfortunately, we'll just have to wait and see how that involves. Okay, let's go into portions of southern Kansas where okay, so you can see that I think this is just newest update that they put in. They added more winter storm watches, and you can see it's different colorings on this map. There's 3 counties under winter storm warnings. They're under only winter storm watches. So it obviously goes to show you how changeable this is and how they're changing this consistently and constantly because of the updates that we're getting from the high resolution models. So again, measurable snowfall is possible for all areas of southwest Kansas, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean a winter storm watch will be issued. A winter storm watch is the potential for more than 6 inches of snow within 24 hours, and a winter storm warning is that it's underway or it will be very promptly. So you can see snow, very high. Heavy snow or blizzard, moderate. I wouldn't say this is a blizzard, but there definitely will be some isolated pockets of maybe some blizzard conditions, right? And ice doesn't seem to be a threat, neither does the cold. Cold enough for snow, right? But not bitter cold that sometimes, we see after snowfall events. So again, this is what Dodge City has for portions of southwestern Kansas: 3 to 4 inches, 3 to 4 inches across Dodge City, Larned, Ness City, Hayes, Garden City. Again, amounts lessen quite significantly as you push towards the south and west of Dodge City into almost, Texas, Oklahoma, and bordering with Colorado. So you can see that the amounts of snow are relatively high. Not a lot of areas are under watches or advisories. I think they just added those counties into the winter weather advisories as we were making this video. I'm not sure. Let's just check this one more area. You can see 4 to 6, Wichita 1 to 2 inches. So obviously, if you live towards the north and west of Wichita, you will see heavier amounts. I wouldn't say obviously because, this may significantly move further to the south and east. While it won't move over across whole states, it could slide, and Wichita could be easily from that 1 to 2 to that 2 to 3, even 4 to 6 inch range. Let's look at some high resolution models to show you the first phase of the system. And I should have made that more clear, but this right here is the first phase of the system. And you saw in the thumbnail I had the northeast. That is going to be the second phase of the system. It looks as if it could be a potentially significant snowstorm across the northeast. Coastal areas may or may not see some snow, but definitely way more closer to the east than with this system right here. So let's take a glance at the high resolution model, the HER model. So this one goes out to 18 hours, right? It's a very short range, but relatively accurate. It did a relatively good job with this system. There were a few flaws. Notice again, the snow is still occurring across portions of Pennsylvania, Ohio, and into southern Canada, still pivoting bands of snow. But what we start seeing across the southwest, the desert southwest, is some snow across Colorado, New Mexico, right? And while that is kind of doing its own, sorry about that. While that's doing its own little thing, we also see the low pressure that is spinning in central western Texas start pulling up some moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. And notice that as it does so, we start seeing snow develop first across portions of southwestern Kansas, the extreme portions of western Oklahoma, the Panhandle, and into portions of northern Texas Panhandle. And notice that the snow, while it seems low in coverage, it does intensify and pick up. And notice that obviously once the rain starts feeding into this, the snow will pick up in coverage and most likely intensity as well, as this, straight from the Gulf of Mexico moisture is rich, and the snowfall rates will be high. And that's what makes this situation a nightmare to forecast. So notice that starts transitioning over to snow across much of Oklahoma. And this only takes us through 18 hours, so right around 10 o'clock December, so tomorrow in the morning, this is what the situation is going to look like. And sorry about that. And if we were to take a look at the total snowfall through tomorrow, 10 a.m., this is nowhere near we're done with the whole event. This is what they're showing. You could see some locations maybe already seeing 4 to 5 inches. Would not be surprised if they're, those amounts are going to happen, because the HER model sometimes does like to put out higher numbers in a few random locations. The snow will fall heavily and quickly. It will be relatively warm, marginal. Won't be at 19 or 18 degrees, right around 30 for the locations that are seeing the snow. So, again, it's fair to assume a 10-to-1 ratio, maybe a bit less. And let's take a look at the HER model 18Z. So this is a few hours old, and let's see what it shows for around that time. Notice this older model run through 10 o'clock December 2nd, at around 1 o'clock today showed much less snow occurring across these areas and more across Nebraska. So again, this is a bit outdated, which makes this a bit unfortunate, but notice, same thing. We start seeing precipitation flip over to snow, and it really does transition that snow or rain to some pretty heavy precipitation. Notice that much of northern Texas, the Panhandle, western Panhandle of Oklahoma, the whole Panhandle, sorry about that. And, that's, again, still not done, but this takes us through midnight on Wednesday going into Thursday. And total snowfall, again, this thing is going to be a hard one to predict, and that's why they have the snow amounts relatively high. And they probably will continue to increase them as, let's go to a different region. I absolutely did not cover that. Okay. I mean, look at that. That's those some amounts in there. Those really light pinks. That's approaching that 12-inch mark, which is 1 foot. I would not be surprised again to see some isolated amounts up to 12 inches, and I'm sure that the National Weather Service wouldn't be either. They'll probably continue to increase the snowfall amounts, but again, they can't really do so liberally, because based on how this unfolds, some locations will be seeing 1 inch, and then some locations will be seeing 9 inches just within a few hundred, not even a few tenths of a mile, not tenths, 10, 20 miles, right? And if they were just to put, this whole area under a 6 to 10 inch snow warning, people here would be pissed off and be like, okay, so you lied to us. And people, people here as well. And then the people that got the snow would say, okay, they were accurate. And then, if they don't do that, then these people will be pissed off. So again, the National Weather Service does a very good job, especially since a lot of these situations are this hard, and I could just only imagine the nightmare that they have with, this isn't even the worst type of system to predict, because there's some usually along the East Coast, there's even worse situations. So notice that continues, right? Let's take a look at the NAM 12KM model, and notice it puts out similar snowfall amounts, and this is what it does through the whole event. So notice it really quickly dwindles it and doesn't show much, and portions of southern Missouri may get some snow, even into portions of Kansas, so cities like Branson, Columbia, maybe even getting on some of that snowfall, into portions of extreme northern Arkansas, getting some snow as well. And if I were to show you at around what time you may be receiving snow, you would see that it's, again, so this is what it is right now. And again, if that snow to rain transition happens sooner, then portions of Oklahoma and Kansas and Texas may be in for more significant snowfall. Notice that this is as of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the PM hours of tomorrow and afternoon Central Standard Time, so you don't have to adjust the hours right there. Notice, and as we push, this is 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. So at around that the wee morning hours into daybreak, into Thursday, portions of southern Missouri and eastern Kansas, well, really Kansas, Oklahoma, but portions of southern Missouri will start getting some snow. Again, the NAM model does tend to have a cold bias sometimes, so that may not happen as easily as shown by the NAM model. But as I mentioned, there's a second wave to the system, and the NAM 12KM definitely starts advocating for that. And notice a lot of areas start off as rain across the East Coast, but that's not set in stone. And now let's get on to show you what the other models are showing. Before we do that, let's just take a glance at, more snowfall accumulations for the southwest, or really into the southern plains. And I know I will focus on the northeast, just this will be happening in the next hours, and this is still a bit away, and it may not even happen at all. So let's focus on what we know will happen, just not the exact details. So notice that this is the RGEM, a very good model. It did a relatively good job with this system that happened across this, the Cleveland, Ohio, the Ohio Valley area. And it's still going on. But notice, puts out similar amounts just north and west of Oklahoma City, 6 to possibly 8 inches of snow, but the general range, I would say 4 to 8, a bit less than the NAM, the RGEM shows, which I don't think there will be any less than 2-3 inches where the snow occurs for more than 2-3 hours, as that snow will be falling an inch per hour at least, and if not more. So let's take a glance at a more high resolution model, the NAM 3KM. Notice this is what it puts out. Generally, same area, or kind of that northwestern Oklahoma area, and just north of Oklahoma City, getting in on some of that possibly. But again, based on the models, there's a bit of difference, a bit of confusion. And this is the HRDPS model, which, okay, I was about to say it doesn't show anything, but I just reminded myself that it cuts itself off at around this area, so we can't really see what it does. And let's take a look at some global models. The GFS, again, very similar, but look what it does with the Northeast. So this is the latest model run. It shows more of an icy scenario for the Northeast. So you can see it adds a bit of snow, but not significantly. But if we were to take it to the 12Z, notice it shows quite a bit more snowfall across portions of Maine. And let me show you why this could be even more significant than that looks based off that graph right there. So notice we have that first wave right here spinning away. It kind of dissipates. There's this large disconnect, and really, again, it strengthens using the moisture from the Gulf and Atlantic. This thing wraps around an area of a cool pocket of air. Look at that, kind of incorporates it. The snow is occurring across portions of western Virginia, Pennsylvania, even into portions of like Pittsburgh, maybe seeing some snow out of that Harrisburg State College. And again, this is the GFS, the 12Z, and this keeps it relatively, snow-free up until really the Maine area and southeastern Canada. But let me tell you that these models almost yesterday at around midnight unanimously started showing the snow and the snow system. So this is what the GFS shows, right? And again, the timing is very far out, but around this upcoming weekend, and we'll have to see. I mean, it's not ridiculously far out. It's within the medium to short range forecast. So models like the European and even some high resolution models like the NAM and the RGEM are soon going to start picking up on that and give us a better idea. Let's take a glance at the GFS parallel. So this model came out yesterday at midnight. The one, that time when all the models started agreeing, which I mentioned earlier. Notice, it shows, again, a pretty powerful storm, lots of rain. Not too much snowfall, if you will, from this. But again, there's still copious amounts for portions of maybe New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine, and this thing really blows up into a system. And even if that doesn't occur, the models are trending at several large nor'easters possible. I don't really want to say that without sounding overhyped, but definitely a not out of the question a pattern that could occur. And let's take a glance. Let's just show you how much snow the GFS parallel puts out for the Northeast and really for these locations. Again, similar. Missouri maybe obviously seeing some snow. So I had a viewer asking from Branson, Missouri, how much snow they may be getting. I would say right now, generally 1, 2, 3 inches, but depending on how it unfolds, that may go to a bit higher or maybe significantly decreased more towards like that 1-inch range. So anywhere for now, I would say 1 to 5, really focusing on that 2 to 3 inch range for much of southern Missouri. And there will be probably pockets of heavier and much lighter. This is what it shows for the Northeast. You could see Vermont, New Hampshire, portions of Maine. Quite significant amounts of snow. The GFS parallel brings it closer to the shore and even into portions of northwestern New York City, northern New Jersey. But again, this is very far out and the models are differentiating quite a bit with each other. This is the Canadian model. Notice it does have a bit more snow in general, but it's again, a bit further away from the coast, similar to what the GFS does, but not really, because it does make that range of snow transition a bit quicker and more efficiently in order for those snowfall amounts to occur. So this is the first wave. Notice it tracks it across, eats up that pocket of cold air. I just wanted to show you that that's really why this system may be able to produce more snow across areas like Kentucky, West Virginia, and yes, another snowstorm possibly for Kentucky and Tennessee. Again, how that all unfolds is a bit confusing at this point, but definitely interesting to see how there could be locations in Kentucky again picking up a few inches of snow. So I know that I saw the snowfall reports from eastern Kentucky. 3 to 4 inches fell with that first system, maybe a bit less. More across the higher elevations, but definitely not a bad start to winter for those snow lovers. Nothing historic, obviously, but not bad. And notice that into portions of Pennsylvania, upstate New York, the Canadian does obviously, notice the trend. There's not a single model not showing the system. They're all showing it. It's just the rain to snow is messed up, and honestly, that probably will be until a few days before it comes out, maybe even the day of. That is very hard, and it's actually extremely impressive how the models are continuing to always show this system together. Now, obviously, they may stop to show this system. They may kind of separate, especially since it's about 5 to 6 days out. So notice this is by Sunday, and we still, strong winds, regardless of if it's rain or snow. If the system occurs, there will be strong winds. And obviously, where the snow occurs, maybe some blizzard conditions. We'll have to see. Those are pretty common across the Northeast. Well, not common, but if you have a big nor'easter and there's snow, blizzard conditions are likely. Now, whether or not you'll get that blizzard or that nor'easter, strong nor'easter, is the million-dollar question as of now. But hopefully in the coming days we'll be able to answer that. Now let's look at the European model. Again, I showed this last for no reason. I just had Tropical Tidbits opened up, and the Pivotal Weather has a European model, so I go to that one at the end. And this is probably the best model. It did a relatively good job with that first storm that went across Ohio Valley. And let's see what it does with this system. So notice that tomorrow, again, very heavy snow. Again, this doesn't look heavy and widespread. It will be falling heavily into portions of Kansas, Oklahoma, the panhandles into Texas. And as this moves out, again, a bit of snow into portions of Missouri, southern southern Illinois, so maybe cities like St. Louis getting a bit of snow. But notice this thing quickly dwindles and then quickly, if you will, kind of spires back up. And Friday, a cold front combines with a cold front from the north, which allows a lot of that rain to snow transition to occur a bit more efficiently than previously thought. So notice that, again, this system really pulls itself together, and the European actually brings a lot of precipitation. Look at that. That's all rain, but really strengthens the system to a 975 millibars of low pressure. That is very strong. Again, A lot of upstate New York and into portions of Pennsylvania seeing snow. So you can see the European definitely the most interesting or the most unique compared to the rest. While the rest of the models took the track kind of like this with the storm, the European takes it more towards the north. North and east oriented, and notice that obviously prolongs the area of snow and possibly, according to the European, sets up another threat for another storm. And a lot of models are indicating a very active pattern. So a lot of excitement, guys. I definitely don't want to say that this is just the Northeast that's under the gun, but potentially a snow system on its way. And it's actually remarkable to see such confidence in the Nor'easter this far out. And that's what's leading me to think that it's kind of really a coincidence and it's fabricated. Or fabricated. It's just really, I may not stay that way. Notice this is what the European shows in terms of snowfall from that system. If this were to occur, obviously, very heavy amounts of snow in some locations, especially Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire. We would have to see how this occurs. But again, notice that here they also have quite a bit of snow. And even to portions of Missouri. Again, 1 to 3 inches generally seems the best bet as of now. But hopefully you enjoyed, guys. I just want to keep this video a bit shorter. Well, I mean, it's long, so let's just keep it continuously shorter. Go to the National Weather Service if you live across the really the southern plains, and even across Pennsylvania and Cleveland, where that first storm is still going on, or the original one, if you will. I just want to take a glance at the winter storm warnings and see what they're calling for. Okay, so they completely canceled them. I don't know what's actually going on. They may have, it may have been a glitch that they never issued winter storm. Sorry about that phone call. So they may have not issued them in the first place, and this is kind of a misguidance. But let's take a look at the winter storm watch and to see what they have. Okay, I honestly don't even know what's going on. The National Weather Service is probably in a process of updating them, which is why it's kind of not showing up. Well, check it for yourself. Definitely good information and the best information. So I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.